Hello, and happy St. George's Day. Welcome back to Playing in Politics. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. This isn't going to be like my normal podcast channel. If you're familiar with this channel, then you'll know that normally I talk about politics and do my makeup at the same time, and we're going to get into this because part of today's video is going to be like a little bit of a reintroduction to this channel. But yeah, if you're new here, that's normally what I do, but today is St. George's Day, and let's be honest, the news has been a little bit dead over the past sort of week or so. So I was a little bit stuck as to what to talk about, but yeah, then I remembered it's St. George's Day, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about patriotism because, yeah, today is St. George's Day, patron saint of England, and yeah, there's been a lot of talk, as I'm sure we're aware, about patriotism and how strong that is at the moment in this country, where patriotism lies, and what fights are going on to kind of restore what people believe is true English values, or at least the British values, but because it's St. George's Day, we'll talk about English specifically. And I remember like a few years ago, they tried to like cancel St. George's Day, and it was like this big thing of like, it was, you had to be so ashamed to be English, but today I'm not necessarily seeing that as much, and I think part of that was of course the connotations that the English flag tends to have in the perceptions of a certain group of people on the political left especially. But I mean, personally, the English flag for me has always really been associated with the England football team, and if you know me personally, you know I'm not a massive fan of football, so you know I could acknowledge it, that's the English flag, that's what it represents, but yeah, well, I wasn't like a massive fan of it, and also it's been associated with the EDL in past lives really, so we've had to sort of reclaim it a little bit, and for some reason I feel like on this St. George's Day specifically, there is a revival of patriotism, and I feel like patriotism, it lives on. I think that's probably what I've titled this video, and yeah, there is hope, and I think this might just be from the people I've been surrounding myself with over the past month or so, and I'm not too sure if it's the same with you and whatever your friends are saying or the communities that you're in, maybe on the internet, but I feel like there is definitely a move towards being more patriotic, even with the left really, like people I wouldn't have necessarily thought would have celebrated St. George's Day or even acknowledged it have done today, so yeah, it's been a nice shift to see. So yeah, I've written like a little bit of a statement I guess, which is going to be a little bit corny, but I've done my best, but yeah, this just kind of sums up St. George's Day for me at the moment, and just how we're feeling in this country as a whole when it comes to patriotism. So here we go. Even though St. George wasn't English or even British, today is a day where we celebrate and be proud of who we are. Proud to be English. There's a lot to be ashamed of in this country at present, and for some that strength and patriotism has faded, but it's certainly not dead. Today we remember the country we're fighting for and the values that we hold so dear, and they keep that spark going. Just like St. George, there is a dragon that needs to be slain and harmony that needs restoring to this country. So let's take that energy forward from this day and remember why we love being from England. So yeah, that's as I say, it's a little bit corny, a little bit cheesy, but the point is there, right? That yeah, there is definitely some dragons that are dotted around in terms of the big issues that we're having in this country that are undermining what this country was built on, what this country is founded on, what makes this country great. And yeah, I feel like we all need to take up that sword of St. George. Really, I'm just getting more corny with this, I'm realising, but just like take up that sword, I guess, and move forward to hopefully continue the fight, and as it said in the statement, you know, restore that harmony and that balance to this country again, just to make it a fair and safe place for everybody. And that should be the goal at the end of the day, is making this country a safe and pleasant home for those who do actually want to make this their home and not want to make it their home, like, from another country, if that makes sense. I'm sure we all know what I'm getting at when I say that, but yeah, that was my little thing on patriotism. But yeah, I just feel like today that spark is definitely still alive and that fight is getting stronger, which is a good thing, and I feel like more and more people are waking up to how much England and Britain as a whole, you know, all the countries combined, is being undermined and is being attacked. And yeah, again, no matter kind of what what side you're on. I feel like more people are waking up to this, and it's good because, you know, that patriotism really needs to live on and live on strongly in order for this country to have a prosperous future. So yeah, that was my little bit on St. George's Day. I don't know what you guys are doing. I'm pretty sure there's like a rally going on at some point somewhere across the country, I'm pretty sure. So if anyone's going to them, then I wish you all the best. And yeah, just feel patriotic today. This is definitely the day to feel patriotic. But yeah, for those who are unfamiliar with my channel, again, this is not normally what I normally do. Normally I, you know, talk about a specific like big topic, and I'm doing my makeup at the same time. And some people have been a little bit confused as to what this channel is, so I just thought that I would reintroduce myself a little bit for those who are new, because I know my channel's gained quite a few new subscribers over the past sort of month or so. So yeah, I started this channel because I wanted a space to talk about politics in a less heavy way. You know, I watch a lot of news channels, like new media channels, which I love. I've talked about Maya Tusi quite a few times on this channel because I'm a friend of his, and you know, I have a history of being a fan and then a friend of his, so he's kind of my main news source. I really enjoy GB News as well, and it's one of my goals with this channel to eventually be a guest on GB News. Like, it's a big goal of mine, so I'm really trying to striving towards that. I also watch Dan Grant from British Stand, which I kind of discovered through Maya, because when he became a presenter on Maya Tusi's channel, that's how I discovered him. But he's kind of the same way in that he reports a lot of the news, and it can be really heavy. And you know, I've never been the person to necessarily be quite a heavy person really when it comes to debates and things. I do like to sort of restore a little bit more hope and positivity back into what's happening in the world, and I just kind of wanted to create a space where I could do that. And I'm also really a big fan of makeup. You know, that's kind of where I'm in touch with my femininity, and you know, that's where I find a lot of my feminine power is the transformation and the power of makeup. And that's kind of where Playing in Politics started, because, and that's kind of the name of it as well, because, you know, playing in makeup, playing in politics, combine the two, you know, combine some phrases there. And what kind of also sparked the format was that there's a creator on here called Bailey Sarian who talks about true crime and does her makeup at the same time, and I was really inspired by her, because she, by doing her makeup, by making it more of like a friendly-ish environment in her videos, despite the fact she's talking about like mass murderers and things all the time, you know, it just made it a way more digestible, and I really enjoyed her content and still do. I haven't actually watched her videos in a while, but I still really enjoy her content, and I love her personality and like the energy that she injects into the videos. And you know, so that's where I took the format and applied it to politics, because I didn't want to put politics on my main channel. I do have a main channel where I talk about things like mental health advice and more sort of girly things like fashion and things like that, and I do like vlogs as well. That's Anna's Random, and my links and everything for all like my main social medias, everything are always in the description. If that's kind of your vibe as well, feel free to go over there, especially my Instagram, because that's where I tend to be the most active when it comes to my other type of content. But yeah, so that's kind of how Playing in Politics started, and that's what this channel is a place where we can all kind of come together, no matter what side of the spectrum you're on. We can just all have a big old discussion. It's a safe space for a lot of people, and that's kind of what I wanted to create, was somewhere where nobody's gonna feel pressured or like attacked in any way really. I don't necessarily want to make this a super heavy thing. That's why I didn't talk about the Supreme Court ruling this week. You know, you probably noticed I've been completely silent on that topic, and that is why, because I don't want to really talk about super heavy stuff. I mean, I have in the past talked about like attacks and things, like the really important stuff, but when it comes to a debate that is so polarizing and just creates a lot of tension within a political debate space, that's not what my channel's about at all. So I didn't really want to take that and bring that energy onto this channel. There's enough of that going on in the world. I don't want to really contribute to that. So yeah, as I say, that's my channel. Normally I talk about politics and I do my makeup at the same time, and we have a fun old discussion. I'll throw a few jokes in there, and yeah, that's just kind of the vibe that I like to bring to this channel, just to make a lot of heavy stuff feel way more digestible and a little bit more light-hearted, so that we can all feel a little bit like the weight has been lifted off our shoulders, and that we can see the positive and the light at the end of the tunnel is really what I try to bring to this channel. So yeah, if you were confused, if you were wondering, that's what we're all about here. But yeah, have a great St. George's Day. I promise that next week, if the news picks up, that we'll be coming back with an actually in-depth podcast episode, which is, as I say, what I normally do on this channel, and I do tend to chip in throughout the week with any breaking news stories if they pop up, so that's on my YouTube shorts. So make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you hopefully don't miss out on any of the videos that I upload, long form or otherwise. But yeah, have a great St. George's Day, have a great week, and hopefully next week we will be back with a proper podcast episode. But yeah, just wanted to make this video because yeah, the news has been a bit dry, and I just thought that I would inject this little bit of light into the internet on the political space at the moment, which is what I tend to do with my channel overall, as I've been saying. So yeah, have a great day, have a great week, and I will talk to you guys next time.